Welcome back to another Honest Tool Reviews. And today we have a Rossi Rio Bravo 22, made in Brazil. So this is an import. And if you know anything about me and how much I love lever actions, I think we all love lever actions. You've noticed that I had a wood grain Henry lever action, a 22, and a Golden Boy in 4570. This is more of a home defense model, as you can see from the barrels being very short, and there's a caveat to that. Let's go right on down the list of things that are good about it, then we'll discuss some of the things that are bad about it, okay? So one of the good things is it is straight black, which, if you believe the liberals on the left, that means it's the baddest gun you can get. It doesn't matter what it is, it's a black gun, therefore it's a bad gun, right? So it's one of the worst guns you can buy automatically just because it's black. A more realistic thing about it being black is that with it being home defense, it doesn't look tacky and out of place anywhere, no matter what the color scheme of your house is. A black gun just kind of fits. Now, a lot of people would see a black gun and decide that it doesn't fit no matter what. Let me let my dog out. Interrupting the video, buddy. Go ahead. Go. So a lot of people would say, the gun anywhere looks tacky. Well, if a gun anywhere looks tacky, surely, well, I can't argue with that. If a gun looks tacky anywhere, then you're not going to find a place to put any color gun. But if you have black anything in your kitchen, black kitchen gun goes with the black. If you have black anything in your laundry room, black laundry room gun goes with the black. If you have black anything in your living room gun goes with the black. But the black, if you put it up in a nook and cranny where the kids can't see it, over some of the kitchen cupboards, that black blends in with the shadows. Just leave it up there for a while. I can't make your decisions for you, and I can't be liable for what you do, but this gun is clearly for self-defense, in home. It's got that short barrel. It's really, good for going around corners, because you don't want all of this gun just hanging way out when you go around a corner. So you have a lot less time in between up here or down here up to your position, because you're not lifting a much heavier gun and you're not necessarily hanging way out. You can, and that's what's generally accepted for a shorter barrel, for in-home defense and things. So this having a slightly shorter barrel is a good thing. Then it being black is a good thing. And true to Rossi, or at least to the three versions of Rossi that I've owned, it has this shroud over the red dot, and then it couples that with green rear dots, two of them, and you center the red dot in between the green dot. But even more so, this little shroud, I think it kind of protects the bead from getting knocked or beaten or anything. And it is technically removable, but I like that it protects the bead. You're not going to bump it or break it. It is like a filament plastic, whereas the shroud itself is metal. And then on top of it, doing the job of protection, if you're trying to zone something and it is out of the range of what you've got this set for, you can kind of do some Kentucky windage based on the outer edge or the top of that shroud. Because if it's further away, you're going to go down and sit on the bottom of the circle, or you can do anywhere in between. And if it's closer, you can aim kind of down and sit anywhere between where the red dot is and the top, or you can go above the red top and just sit the red top of the circle, the black shroud top of the circle against the crevice in between the little filaments. You know, you can make adjustments is what I'm trying to say. And second, this is adjustable, fully adjustable here, even though this is not adjustable. And you know, you don't really need that to be adjustable. There are some guns out there, with exception, that are adjustable at the front. Not very many. So this is kind of a typical thing, but the shroud is really nice. And all three Rossis I've ever had have had it, and that's great. I have a 22 Savage that has a front sight, just a little metal dove looking tail that just sticks up, and it's been like some kind of attached, and the gun slid from where it was and fell, and I don't really remember exactly what it was that had happened, but when it did, it busted the piece of metal off. So having a metal shroud to help protect that flimsy little piece of plastic is really nice, and having it be a filament is really good for seeing it, as opposed to those pieces of metal that are black like the rest of the gun. So those are some benefits. Let me let this asshole of a dog in. Come on. Come on, man. Stop with my infomercial. Okay. Stay on that side. Stay on that side, because I do not, under any circumstances, want to flash you, even with an unloaded gun. People would throw a fit. Okay. Yes, that's right. I'm aware people would throw a fit. Hey, it's not yours. Stop. I'm not taking your brother's food. No. Okay. I apologize. I do. If you know anything about dogs, they definitely have a personality. He's got one. Okay. So this is lever action, which is everyone's favorite. If you put it in the red means dead, you can fully articulate it. And you can release the hammer. And it does have a safety. It's the double-sided safety, which goes from side to side. Your left side is where the red is. Red means dead. That's the firing side. And the black side is the safe side. With that, you can't fully cock it. You can't pull the trigger, and the hammer won't move from whatever position it's in. But keep in mind that it is possible to put the lever back and then put it in safe position, which means you can have this loaded in your room, and you could just pop and fire, because when it moves, it actuates the hammer, and then when you lock it, the trigger can't be formed, the loading can't be done, and the hammer can't fall. All three of those things are disabled. Therefore, it is technically safe by all general manners. I suppose it would be possible to smack it with a hammer or something really, really, really hard. But if you're being genuine with your gun and you have it in a corner somewhere, you know, up against two different walls, and it's in like a bedroom protected, I'm not expecting it to move that much. The most shaking it may have is the bed shaking, hitting the wall. And anyway, this is a very effective gun. Like most working, well-oiled, fine-tuned guns, this is a well-working, well-oiled, fine-tuned gun. From my experience with this gun, it does exactly what my Rossi 22 with the scope does. I don't like scopes, and I guess one of the biggest reasons I don't like scopes is because even with all that scope, I'm still hitting the target at 100 yards with this. Now, is there a difference? Yeah, I can't see the target get hit with this at 100 yards. I have to pick up binoculars or walk down there and look. But I am hitting it, and I know that I'm hitting it. And if you're shooting a gong at 100 yards, you can hear it ting, ting, ting every time. So, to me, that scope didn't do very much good on a 22. But let's go a little further because it does have it as a talking point. It has the mounting rails for you to put a scope on it. So if you're not like me, if you don't feel like that's a waste of money, or if you have one laying around and you just want one of these to have a nice red scope or laser light or flashlight or any kind of optic, you can put it on here, scope included. Not sure what I would put on here. If I had to put something on here, I would definitely have to sit down and consider it, because anything that you put on here at this point may block these sights unless you get those things that kind of raise your rail and leave that open. But I don't have very much experience with scopes. If it didn't come on my gun, I'm liable to not have it on my gun. And because of that, I have no real comprehension of all of those different parts. I've looked at them a few times at Walmart, but I can't really get into that. I can just say that it is ready for a scope because it does have the rails. I don't even know if they have different size rails, so I don't really even know if that's unanimous, universal, but it is there. And this was sold at Walmart. So if you're curious, you can go to Walmart and look at it and kind of gauge whether or not you want to get a scope with it when you buy it. It's not an attached piece. It is officially a part of this gun. It's milled right into the top of the body. And moving forward from me rambling about that, the body of this gun seems to be in about 4 or 5 pieces. And it has screws, Phillips head on this side, 2 on this side for a total of 4. There seems to be 1 holding the buttstock on from the bottom. And that is about all I see holding this together. So I would believe it that, if you had to service this very, very deeply, it would be very easy to service, I believe. I haven't had to. It's run flawlessly. I've done cleanings with it, but I've never opened it up because I haven't put but maybe 10,000 rounds through it. It's just such a smooth, clean running gun. Now, it doesn't operate with a gas chamber or any of that. If it was a bigger round, you would have lots of recoil and it would probably get dirtier quicker. But with it being the 22, and 22s kind of, to my understanding, don't really even use gunpowder. They use like a green goop that is kind of slathered on the inside. It's like a primer, and the primer activates, and it's basically just that. It's hardly anything to get the gun dirty, from what I'm understanding. So I haven't really had any problem. I haven't really felt the need to clean it, and it has run perfectly. I've had this for about 3 or 4 years now, and you've probably seen this featured in a couple of gun videos, including one about why people shouldn't be afraid of bigger guns. And I had used this one in comparison to the 22 with the scope, and that day I don't think I did as good with this one as I did with the one with the scope, because that one was sighted in and this one had never been sighted in. But that was an old video and it was needed to be uploaded. And with this sat down, given the time, and sighted in, this one does as good as the Rossi, as the Henry lever action 22, even with the shorter barrel and the non-scope accessory. This does the exact same. The bullets may behave differently between here and 100 yards because they're coming out of the shorter barrel, but I found the target, I locked in at 100 yards. I can hit the same with this as the other one. Moving forward, because I need to, I keep blabbing. This is tube fed. Tube fed means that you take this nice shiny brass tube and you feed the bullets in via this nice shiny brass tube right here. Now, this gun is amazing to me. I'm going to show you the 22s. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And I'm going to show you that it actuates because that's what this gun says it shoots, is 22 long rifle. Okay. I'll take the safety off because I have to. The dogs are in that direction chewing on chew toys. There's no one over here, and my finger is not going to touch the trigger. Load, actuate, 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 empty. Okay? Empty. Now, something that the gun manufacturer does not disclaim and it does not acknowledge is that this gun can run 22 short. I had a handgun with a hand book with this when I purchased it. I read it over numerous times. I try to thoroughly understand the gun before I started using it. Even if I can't articulate the words the best, I do understand the gun, and I can't tell you in good confidence, lawyer proof, that you can shoot 22 shorts out of this. I can show you that it actuates them, and it does shoot them. I can show you this. I don't want to be sued if yours doesn't work, but mine does. I checked it thoroughly out of some confusion because I noticed that a lot of guns will say 22 LR, and they won't say anything else. And then you think, well, can it shoot anything else? There's plenty of guns that say do not use shorts, do not use CB caps, do not use this, do not use pest shot. Well, this is the 22 short. 22 short compared to the 22 long rifle. Let me try to find a better way to show y'all. Okay, one is shorter than the other. Damn. I don't want anybody to say there's any trickery. People on YouTube or... Okay, so no matter how you slice that, that's a 22 short and that's a 22 long rifle. Okay? The short is not listed to run in this gun. But as far as I know, I mean, unless they caught that later on and added it to the handbooks moving forward, the one I purchased doesn't have it listed. 1, 2, 3. Let's keep going because I really want to hammer home that this works for me. 4, 5, 6. My assumption is that you could probably get 4 or 5 extra rounds in this if you're shooting shorts than if you're shooting longs. What that does is that gives you extra shots. If they don't have to be 100-yard shots, and it's truly for self-defense in your home, a headshot, a hook shot, hand shot, and a 22 short would be very effective. That said, if you want extra bullets, you could run shorts. I have not tried mixing the two to see if the gun could handle a mixture. I know in shotgun shells, sometimes people will put a slug in and then they will load with birdshot. And for safety reasons, you use the birdshot, and if they absolutely refuse to stop, you have a slug. I have not tried anything like that with this, mixing longs and shorts or any mixture. But with just the shorts in here, with just the shorts, okay, so safety off, it's unloaded, load, cycles out, cycles out, cycles out, cycles out, cycles out, cycles out, and empty. Absolutely empty. No bullet in there. No bullet in there. No bullet in there. No bullet in there. And safety back on. Now, will it fire the 22 short? Yes. Do y'all need proof that it'll fire the 22 short? I'm not sure if YouTube will allow me to show you that it does something it shouldn't. So I'm afraid on whether or not I should do that. What I will do is I will load this gun off camera, and you can make a decision yourself as to whether or not Justin's trying to make a point. I will load it with something from this table that may not be the long, and I will go out there and shoot. And then I will gladly show you the cases, because cases aren't proof, right? I'm not trying to tell you what to do or what not to do. And I'm also not trying to get banned off of YouTube. So just keep these in mind. I'm gonna load this gun with something that it should run. YouTube, I'm not doing anything that I shouldn't be here. I'm not doing anything I haven't done before here. And I'm also not giving out advice. Okay? Don't ban me. I'm not giving out advice. People don't do these things at home, right? Don't load guns at home. Don't use guns. Guns are bad and all of that stuff. Okay? So, with all those disclaimers out, well, let me be a little bit more thorough. I am not a scientist. I am not an engineer. I am not a doctor. I'm not a medical expert. I am not a injury data analysis. I am not a gunsmith. I am not a doctor. I cannot give you advice, and that this is not legal advice. Do not use guns. Guns are bad. Do not touch guns. Guns are bad. Do not play with guns. Guns are bad. Do not fiddle with guns. Guns are bad. Do not use guns in any way that they shouldn't be used. Do not use guns any way contrary to the handbook that comes with them. Do not purchase guns at all. Don't do anything that Joe Biden wouldn't do. Okay, with that disclaimer out of the way, we're going to take this gun with something in it, with something loaded in it, and a bullet to compare the cartridges, just because comparing the cartridges is cool, right? We're not going to debate what I ran in this. We're just going to say, hey, look, this is the size of the cartridge and all. Alright, excuse the mess. We have a roommate right now, and she's a mess. Alright, so in theory, this gun has been loaded with something off that bag, and in theory, what was on that bag is what should be ran in here. And by should, I mean physically does and appears to be safe to me. Alright, let's go. Safety off. Loading the first one. I want that shell. The third one. Okay, empty. Safety on for all of you safety nuts out there. The gun is pointed towards the field. Okay. So, just for the sake of doing data analysis and all of this, like all those big gun channels, like M1 Grand. Take a look at that shell that I fired, and you can decide if that's a long rifle or a short. You know, you can decide for yourself. I will put this in to give you an example to go by. If I can do it the right way. Oop, dropped it. all things considered, that is probably the single most dangerous thing I've done all day, is trying to hand load a gun. So don't do this at home either, because the handbooks always say not to. There we go. It's in there. Hammer's back. Turn the safety on. I wonder why. It did hit it. It did fire. It didn't go off. Is that a bad bullet? Let's check somewhere else on that primer. Okay, maybe that one is a bad bullet. Well, anyway, I have another bullet we can try. Feed it in by hand just because I can. Okay, it is loaded. Safety is off. Okay. Big difference in the sound just right off the bat. Well, not gonna lie, y'all probably saw it. It went out that way. Let me show you a cartridge from a 22 long rifle as compared to the cartridge that I just shot from the multiples that came through the gun. Okay, so with that, you can make your own decision what to do, how to do it. But because I discovered that this gun for me can shoot 22 shorts, I have it. Of course, it appears that I've dropped the camera footage. I want to hammer home real quick that Rossi 22 comes in a number of configurations. So this is specifically the Rossi 22 lever action. That is the levering action. It loads it. It has this piece that comes back, articulates the hammer, articulates the whole bolt forward, the bolt rides, and the hammer sits back here. With the safety off, you can articulate the hammer with your thumb to prevent it from firing. It does have a dual-sided on-off safety. It does have fairly typical adjustable windage adjusting sight, and then it has the very lovely rossi cage over the sight at the front. The tube holds in between 12 and 14 bullets. Trying to be vague for the sake of the vagueness that I have to use for this particular video. You can probably squeeze 17 in if you ghost load and stuff like that. But I highly suggest this gun if you're just looking. If you're just looking one single gun to plink, shoot in self-defense, train. It has zero recoil. I mean, there's a girl that my buddy is married to that seems to be terrified of recoil. Now we did have an incident where she was shooting a shotgun, and the ammo that she got, she wasn't aware of its power, and we weren't paying attention because there was more than one gun, and we were shooting, and she shot, and it scared her. And she's like, oh my God. So now every time she shoots, she goes, is this going to recoil? No, it has no recoil. Everybody was fine that day. She was fine that day. But she was genuinely shocked and scared. She's like, oh my God. She didn't know that it was going to kick like that. But even people afraid of recoil can shoot this no problem. She shot this no problem. So there's nothing to fear from this gun except that it's black. God forbid, the Democrats will tell you anything black is just absolutely scary. And with that thought, being said, it is a really, really reliable gun, and it has not walked off and murdered anybody. To my knowledge, every time I come home, it is still in the same place that I've left it. I have never found that it has fired by itself. I've never found that it has intended to. It has never communicated with me that it intended to do any harm to anyone. And even more so, since it has the tube, it can't possibly be affected by the magazine law that's going into effect. This is a tube, not a magazine. Not a banana clip, not a stripper clip, not a 30 round mag, not a aftermarket mag, not an extended clip, not any of that. It's a tube, mag tube. Completely different thing. And it, to my knowledge, can't be modified to be bigger. I have some ideas, but I'm not going to mention them because we don't need government stepping in any higher than they already are, and I don't feel comfortable making that assumption about these parts. I try not to say anything that I think will genuinely make me look stupid, and it could be a waste of money unless you just had a longer tube from a different gun and you wanted to see if it would fit and line up appropriately. But I don't actually know that would work. I don't want to make the assumption, and we're not going to discuss something like that. And even more so, it would look ridiculous with the bottom sticking way out here. Of course, with this being a rifle and not a shotgun, it's not like the bird spread would hit a tube if it was out here anywhere. But you would definitely get like the dirt from the bullet, projecting forward and stuff. And there could be some reasons to not do it, I would think. So we're not going to get into whether you could or couldn't, or what you could or couldn't try, because that's not my forte. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't have any ideas. I'm not going to discuss them. Totally not. Wink, wink. All that stuff. Just a good running gun, all things considered, just as it is coming out of the box. And I don't know that these still sell at Walmart because of how long I've had it and how reliable it's been. But if you're going to Walmart and you do see it and you're interested, I think I paid $150 for this back when I bought it. And it is still in wonderful condition, no rust anywhere. The polyplastic has not scratched, dented, cracked, nothing. And I do believe that you could mount things on this. This is a type of rail, but it's not something I'm familiar with. So I only mentioned that at the last moment because if you're creative or if you have a 3D printer, you could create one, or maybe they have them for sale where you could put a bolt through here and attach an actual Picatinny rail, and then therefore you could attach a light or something at the bottom or what have you, maybe a handle if you really wanted a foregrip. But I prefer this. As a matter of fact, a lot of times I put it here up against this little slit because it just fits. You can fit forward if you want to push forward, but because there's no recoil anyway, I just focus on keeping it tight to my shoulder with the buttstock. And it's been a really good gun for me. All in all, y'all know I try not to give 5 out of 5. I try not to be biased, but all the way around, this has been a great gun. It has only failed me that one bullet out there that didn't fire. And I shot it twice to make sure it was just bad. It's a bad bullet. And I honestly can't think of another time this gun has failed me. And even the times that I missed on the last video that you saw, I missed because it wasn't sighted in. So I can't really blame the gun for that. You know, the gun may have been previously sighted in at the company for 55 or 75, any of that. I sighted in at 100. And I like to shoot at 100 because the gun range there has a gong at 100. Since 22 is so hard to see, I can hear it. And I only have one ear, but I can hear it. And it's great. Unless some assholes are out there with 308s and 30-06s and they're just hammering away with their AR-14s and AR-15s and M1 Grands. Yeah, I said AR-14. Comment below if you know where that's from. Anyway, so I like this gun, and I highly suggest it. I don't know if it'd be right for everyone, because some of us have a power trip. I have a power trip. That's why I have a 4570. But this is a good running gun. And for home self-defense, always be loaded and stuff like that. It's a really good gun. And going out plinking, it's a really cheap gun. Going out to the gun range, it's a good gun. There's nothing wrong with this gun, is my point. And just because it doesn't look like an AR doesn't mean it won't kill something. So you should always practice safety, but it has been a really good one for me. And I do have full confidence if someone came in my house and I put a bullet in their head with this, they would stop. Very confident. Those people out there that like to go, oh, 22, nothing but a little pea shooter, 22. Well, first question is, would they feel comfortable shooting that 22 into their face? Probably not. And the second question is, if not, why? Because you might get hurt, because you might die. And my third question is, if it's so dangerous, you're scared to shoot yourself with it, how come it's so ineffective that I can't use it for self-defense? No. It's really good for self-defense. There's even anecdotal stories that may or may not be true about the bullet bouncing around in the brain, making, scrambled eggs, because the bullet can't continue out the skull. So, with that thought in mind, 22 prevents over-penetration into a neighbor's house or neighbor's trailer. 22 short could essentially prevent over-penetration into the next room. Potentially. I don't know what your walls are made out of. Japanese people may have walls made of paper. Just about anything you shoot could go through them. But in my instance, I could shoot a 22 short and it wouldn't go through these walls. In my instance, if I shot someone and it did go through them, it wouldn't go through this wall. If I shot 22 long, it definitely wouldn't make it to the neighbor's house. And that's if it made it through the walls. So, where you live kind of plays a factor. Is there concrete in the walls? Are the walls full of foam? Do the walls completely hollow? Find out. Gauge that. Get a round that's subsonic if you need to, or has very underpowered. But this is a great gun for self-defense in your home. I have taken it with me fishing and camping because it's a great gun. I do not know that this is a Cerakote. This looks a lot like a painted barrel to me. It just looks painted. But it hasn't rusted. It seems to be very friendly to the fact that I've been around water. I haven't gotten it wet. I've been very careful with that. Just because I don't know, and I should know, but I don't know, how this material is being protected. So I keep it oiled. I keep it safe. I lay it down gently when possible. Like some people will slam a gun down. That's not me. But that has been this episode of Honest Tool Reviews. And I hope that if you've been looking for something short, small caliber for home defense or plinking, that you consider this kind of gun, because I truly enjoy it. And yeah, I have a lot of guns, but this is one of those guns that I would struggle to sell. I genuinely would. And it's one of those guns where I'm going to honestly give it a 5 out of 5. The fact that it can shoot multiple rounds, multiple, well, I'm not supposed to say that, but that it can shoot 22 short for me and 22 long. The fact that it's lever action that I enjoy so much, and with lever action you can shoot just about as fast as you can actuate. The build, the quality, the design, the color, the functionality, the sight, the fact that it does come with the strap mounts on the front and the back. Everything about this gun is the best possible to me, and I like it. I enjoy it this way. So I have to give it a 5 out of 5, and that's one of the few things on my channel that gets a 5 out of 5, but this does. And I hope that it helps you make a decision one way or the other. Let us know in the comments below if you have this gun or if you fired this gun, what you think of it. Have a great day, and as always, stay safe out there.